In this video, we'll be discussing how the fantasies of Elizabeth Holmes to create a handheld blood testing devices with more than 100 blood tests came crumbling down, and how it was based on lies, deception, and putting the health of the patients on risk. Hello and welcome. My name is Aman Kirk, and welcome to the weekly podcast. Well, I was intended to upload this podcast every week, but I am not uploaded from a month. Well, that is because I'm lazy and I procrastinate a lot, and I'm guilty of that. Anyways, I'll be uploading every week now because I just want to improve my communication skills and how I talk to the camera, and that is why I would not be using any kind of scripts now, because previous 3 videos I had created, they were just purely a script and me reading the script. Alright, that is nothing in which I can improve. Alright, reading just text on paper is not something I would prefer. Sure, I would have many goof ups just speaking to the camera, but that is better than just going through the conventional way. Well, uh, whenever you start something, you're naive, obviously, but then you slowly but surely improve eventually. So that's what I'm aiming for. I know that I'll be naive. I know that I'll have many goof ups. The video's length will be longer, in speaking without any script, but I'm ready for that. Well, I just have a little 10 points written in here so that I don't forget what I'm going to speak about, but not any sort of script. Anyways, let's get started with the video. And anyways, I just want to add that I'm recording this video on 1:30 a.m. because otherwise it would be postponed to the next week and next week and next week, and just goes on, procrastination. It hurts, man. Anyways, let's get started. Well, let me introduce you to Elizabeth Holmes first. First of all, I'd be calling her just Elizabeth because I get confused by her surname a lot. So, anyways, let me introduce you to Elizabeth. So, she was a very ambitious, charismatic, and very interesting person. Well, she had the charisma to kind of attract anyone into her lies, into her deceptive practices. She was studying in Stanford University, medical degrees, but she dropped out. Well, there is just this trend of dropping out from colleges. It like Mark Zuckerberg, all right, but it doesn't works in medical field. Like, you can learn coding in your home, all right, you can do that, but you cannot learn medical just sitting in your home. But she anyways dropped out of the university because she had this world-changing idea of creating handheld blood testing device. Well, her explanation was that current blood testing practices, the conventional blood testing practices, are too inconvenient for any normal person without any prescription to just go and get checked. Her dream was to create a small blood testing devices which you can have in your houses, and you can do all of the blood tests yourselves, or you can do all of the blood tests very easily. Well, it sounds great in a fantasy, but it's not that real. You cannot compress all of that functionality of many different machines into one small handheld. But anyways, she had the vision and she started working on it. Well, working on this type of visions takes a lot of funding, and that's where her charismatic personality comes into play. She attracted almost $300 million for her project without even showing any working prototype of her machine, because she was just so good in using technical terms and attracting investors that they just jumped right into her project. Anyways, when the funding was there, she started working on it, and she hired some scientists, doctors, obviously. But it's what you call the toxic work environment. She made two kind of teams and just competed one against another. Like, if you don't perform well, you're out of the company. All right, you don't have any place in your company if you don't perform well. She forced them to do overworking. She forced them to do work on a toxic work environment. Anyways, that would have been okay if her machines worked out to be good, or even if she failed, she backed away. But she did not do that. As we mentioned earlier, compressing all of that functionality into a small handheld is a very big, challenging, and sort of impossible task. And everyone should have known that, but like they went into her charismatic personality and went into it. Well, she wanted to become the next Steve Jobs of the Silicon Valley. She wanted to become the first female billionaire of the Silicon Valley, and that's why she was so invested in this project. She got a lot of fame, and she also imitated the personality of Steve Jobs, like organizing the events at the time Apple did, even organizing the event managers of the Apple, and just dressing like just dressing like a Steve Jobs and acting like it. But what was missing here from it was the actual qualities of a Steve Jobs of revolutionizing things. She was doing is she was just playing foul of everyone. Well, her machine did not work, obviously. All right, her handheld devices, that those prototypes, they were horrendously wrong. All of the blood testing that was done in it, it was turned out to be absolutely wrong. Like one time you do the blood test, they would show another result, and the another time you do that, they would do another result. Elizabeth knew it, but she hid it very nicely. She forced all of her workers to just not speak out and come out in front. But some of those did come out after a while, and that's how her lies came crumbling down. Well, anyways, when she got her prototype, the machine was not working well, but obviously there was a lot of pressure from investors to kind of show what she was doing, and that's why she made labs in her locality. And what she did was their doctors, their workers, obviously she's not going to work on a lab because she's a multi-millionaire by that time. So they just used to take samples of people's blood and got it tested on a real laboratory, because obviously their handheld did not work. Anyways, they got it tested, and the problem was that they took a very small sample of the patient's blood and they had to coagulate it. So that too in turn, what do you call it? That too in turn made the results wrong. Made the results wrong. And when she was asked to show her handheld devices to the investors, all the blood tests were absolutely wrong, but she hid it pretty well. And even an interesting story is, once Joe Biden came to visit her lab, and she made an entire goddamn lab, a fake lab, to show Joe Biden. And Joe Biden said that it's revolutionary, it's the lab of the future. Well, anyways, as the saying goes, any lies cannot prevail to eternity. When you say one lie, you have to say 100 lies to protect that one lie. And some whistleblowers of Elizabeth's company came out and speak against the company. And that's how her lies came crumbling down. When she was investigated, it was found that all of her blood testing devices were or either not working or either working correctly, and her claims of 100 and more than 100 blood tests in a small device were found to be absolutely wrong, because it was theoretically impossible to do all of that in just a small device. Anyways, when she was caught, she still stuck to her ideas. Alright, she was too sure that it would work out, it would all work out in the end. But she just drained the $600 million of investors' money down the drain. The another risky thing was that if she continued with her handheld devices, she would have created a lot of chaos for the people who trusted in her, for the people who trusted the blood test results which her machine gave, because obviously they were wrong. It could be catastrophic, because you're essentially playing with the health of people, playing with the lives of the people. All right. So it's never a good idea. It's never a good idea to do it and in any field, but especially when you're scamming people in the medical field, it's especially concerning. Anyways, she underwent a long trial. Well, anyways, as it goes, trial take a lot of time. Until then, she was roaming freely. She has a partner in crime. His name was Sunny Balwani. Yeah, Indian name, man. Anyways, she had a partner in crime. His name was Sunny Balwani, and she too was as involved as Elizabeth. But Elizabeth was like kind of mastermind of the game. and they both went under trial. And just a few days ago, the results of the trial came, and she was convicted for 11 years. You know how she played the trial, how she tried to emotionally blackmail the judges. She got pregnant 2 times when the trial was going on. Well, because she maybe would have thought that the sympathy of her child would get her a lot less sentence, but I don't think it worked on the jury, and she got what she deserved. Well, anyways, those $600, $600 million ain't coming back. Those potential life risks ain't coming back. That potential hype ain't coming back. But surely she doesn't get to continue her chaotic, whatever she was doing, and her life came crumbling down. Well, you cannot hide all of this stuff for eternity, right? It's bound to come out that you're lying. Well, but what I think on this case is, perhaps she took the what I think about this case is, perhaps she took the fake it till you make it saying too seriously. I thought she was too reluctant to back away from her decisions. She was too ashamed of just accepting that no, I cannot compress all of that functionality of a big blood testing machine into a small handheld device, and she was too reluctant to accept that, and she just went with the flow. And all of a sudden her house of cards came crumbling down upon her, and she was exposed out of her every single bit. Well, anyways, this was the story of Elizabeth Holmes. I wanted to talk about other topics too, but the time won't allow me because it's already 2 a.m. I have to do some other homeworks of my studies too. Well, anyways, in 3 months it will be board exams, so it will be another struggle to just kind of keep up with all of the things. Well, anyways, from the next week I'll be creating this kind of just talking straight to the camera kind of videos. I know the video is like already 11 minutes long, but I'm anticipating it because I'm not habitual of just, I don't know how to constrain all of these talks into short amount of time, but I'll be trying to do that, and eventually will improve. Like as I said in the beginning, you're naive whenever you start in something. You slowly improve, and then you reach the perfection. If you don't start, you don't have 0% chance of perfection. Anyways, this reminds me, I just want to close the video, but I just want to say that this reminds me of Louis Rossmann a lot, like that repair guy on YouTube. Well, he works quite well as what do you call it, therapist too. One quote of his hit me quite well. In which he says that if you start, there may be 95% chance of failing, but if you don't start, there will be 100% chance of failing. And that is like what I love to stick to nowadays. Like I start some things, even if it's risky, I'm gonna do it, and there's chance that it won't work out, but if I don't try it, it surely ain't going to work out. Anyways, it's quite a long video, 12 minutes now, 13 minutes. Have a good day. If any single person on God's gracious earth is watching to end, I don't think so, because attention span is not more than 60 seconds. I'll be back next week.